we're out today pounding some post with our new Danuser, I think that's how you pronounce it, Post Driver. This model is the MD-6. It can drive posts that are 8 feet tall and up to 6.5 inches in diameter. So we're driving some treated white cedar posts today, and we're going to do a little bit of demonstration on how to use it and everything. So if you want to go direct to that, check out the chapters below so you can go right to how to use it and how to set it up. Otherwise, I'm going to talk a little bit about why we got the product and how it compares to some other options out on the market there. So first of all, as you can see here, unlike other drivers, this is PTO operated. So you have to have the PTO in the tractor, use the 3-point arms to lift it up. So this is the main reason that I went with this one compared to a driver that is hydraulic operated, is because this was I found locally for 600 bucks, and most every hydraulic pounder that you find is considerably more expensive. So the reason I went with this was the cost. We had a bunch of posts to get in the ground. Last year we did a lot of drilling with the regular auger. You know, you can get them nice and straight and it looks really good, but it just takes so much time, and we have a lot of fence to do and it's just taking too much time. So we have some soft ground here and even some higher ground. We're gonna try to knock these posts in. Plenty of people do it, but with the softer ground, I knew we'd be able to drive these posts really easily. So this was available, paid 600 bucks for it, and now we're finally getting out to use it. So a few things that I found initially with this tractor. This is a Branson 4520. It was a little bit of a bugger even to get this thing attached because the 3-point arms have to be out all the way to get it hooked up. So that was a little bit tricky to get it hooked up to start with, and all the weight is up at the top, so it's a little bit top heavy. So setting it up was a little bit funky, but once we got it all hooked up, it wasn't too bad. The thing that I found, I don't know what tractor the guy had it set up with, but the PTO shaft that he gave me with it was too short. I was able to find a PTO shaft in stock at Tractor Supply. It was for a fertilizer spreader in stock at Tractor Supply. This uses a rectangle shaft. It's 3/4 inch by 7/8 inch rectangle, and I didn't have to cut it or modify it. The overlap is perfect. I've got plenty of room, so it's not bottoming out. So that worked out fine. I was able to get it off the shelf, get it hooked up. It works perfect. I am running this with this tractor. It uses, the PTO has 2 ranges. So I am using, so it's basically like the second speed of the PTO. And when I engage that, I just let it idle. This thing doesn't need to be running at the 540 speed to get this wheel spinning. So the way this works is it turns the gearbox, turns a chain, and it has a wheel that you use a lever that engages this beam that then lifts the beam up, and then you move the lever and then it lets the weight free fall to drive the post. So that's kind of the mechanical operation of it. So I'm gonna get the tractor fired up. We're gonna engage the PTO, and I'm gonna show how we go about, well, actually, I take that back. I'm gonna show you how to adjust this first, because we don't wanna be in here adjusting the machine while the PTO is running. So let me show you that first. So we're gonna grab our level. So all the stuff, as far as the mechanics of this, are done manually. So with your PTO, the nicest PTO drivers that they have out nowadays that are a bunch of money, all your forward and back, side to side, all that's done hydraulically. All this is manual. There's no hydraulic setup at all. So you can see if we put our level on here on this beam, they were quite a bit out of level. So whether the tractor is sitting on a hill, you're leaning down, or like now we're kind of sitting in a little bit of a rut. So we'll show you adjusting both ways. So we're way out of whack here. So to compensate for that, we're turning the top link, which I don't know if with this did come with its own top link. I don't know with if a hydraulic top link, that actually would probably be kind of nice. So actually I did that a little bit too far. So we're just setting this. All right, that looks pretty good right there. So we're level this way, and we're just adjusting that top link. With the hydraulic top link, that might be pretty slick too. So we're gonna run our level off the inside of the beam since that's the flattest spot we can find, and we're sitting quite a bit off to our right. So the way we're gonna adjust that is with our 3-point. So on this tractor, I'm hoping that we have enough adjustment this way. So we're gonna do our best. We were pounding a couple posts earlier, so we had it set down. The only other way is if we run out of, if we max this out. Actually, it's even a little bit too far. So the other way that you could compensate for that is if, I don't know if all tractors have adjustment like this. I'm not familiar with every model. To make up for that, I mean, you could pull forward and shim a board under the tire, I guess, if you had to. Yeah, we're looking actually pretty good right there. So I guess you could shim the tire. You have a little bit of wiggle room. So this is what we scale or what we grade as a 5-inch cedar post. So that's between 4.5 inches and just below 5.5 inches. So you have a little bit of wiggle room in here. So you can try to get it started straight and then hold it into position that the post is actually straight. But I like to get the machine as straight as possible or as level as possible to start with. So now that we had the adjustments made as far as the machine goes, we're gonna fire up the tractor and show how this works. We had the tractor fired up, PTO running. Like I said, we had the second speed PTO going. It's idling just over 1,000 RPMs. We found this is plenty enough speed for this machine to work. All right, so currently when you are not using it, there is this bar that goes in the bottom. What this does is this is gonna creep down, or this can let loose. This whole weight assembly can fall all the way to the ground, and we found out the hard way that that is possible. And I believe this weight is just over 200 pounds, if memory serves me. So this beam will lodge itself right in the ground, and we had to put our thinking caps on how the hell to get it up out of the ground. So this stays in place, and that's actually why I had the post like this too. We're gonna pull that pin out of the way and show you how touchy this lever is. So coming around the backside, you can see kind of the meat and potatoes here. PTO is running. It is running the gearbox, spinning the chain, and it is moving this wheel. So as we manipulate this lever, so currently it is in the hold position, which is basically the lever flat. When we move this lever, it's gonna hit this linkage, and it's gonna push this wheel into the backside of this beam. And what that's gonna do, that wheel's gonna push in, and it's gonna make the beam climb up to get the weight up. And then as you move that lever, it's gonna let the wheel off, and it's gonna allow that weight to free fall down, which is gonna drive your post. So we've watched other videos on YouTube, and I think some models or machines are adjusted a little bit different, because some seem like they show like the throw of the lever, like pulling it down, which you pull it down to raise it. So I really pay attention. It seems like, you know, putting it up might raise it, like you think that might work. But as you're paying attention, down is raising it and up is lowering it. But one video showed the guy really flinging the lever up to lower it, which is just not the case. When you put it up to almost level, it's gonna hold it in place. And to lower it, or to raise it, you're pulling it down, and to lower it, you're barely lifting off of it. So this machine, you're barely moving it. So you really have to kind of get the flow of the machine, because then if you lift it up too high again, then the wheel's almost grabbing, and then it's slowly letting it down. And you can also, if you raise it up too high, there is a mark. Some of the stickers are beat off this thing, so I can't see everything, but it says do not raise bottom of drive channel above this point. So this is where there's rollers set up on here. So if we get the bottom of the channel above this point, the weight is going to be up too high, and there's only one roller left. And I believe that the wheel doesn't know where the weight is, because there's, obviously it's all mechanical, that you can actually completely get that channel and weight out of there and it's either going to tip forward and smash out my window or bust up the cab or come back and potentially hurt somebody. So you really have to pay attention. There's no limit, no limit stop on bringing this thing up. So when I'm operating this, which we're running a 2-man crew here, Paul is keeping an eye on my level on where I'm pounding it, and I'm really looking at the bottom of this, and I'm looking here so I know when I get here, I'm letting it come back down, because I really don't want to have this thing come out and have somebody get hurt. So that's kind of the mechanics of it. So I have this in place because I need to get this pin out of here. There is a little holder on the side, so I'm just going to pull the pin, and at some point it looks like there was a little keeper thing on here, so you didn't lose this pin. So that keeps it so you don't lose it in the grass or anything. Like I said, you need to get this up high enough to get your post underneath it. So we found, I was kind of pussyfooting around here and let this thing lower, and the weight dropped all the way down. And then actually what we needed to do to counteract that, we lowered the 3-point arms all the way down. So the wheel, so what had happened when the weight went down, because we didn't have that pin in place or the post to grab it, the weight went down and it was below where the wheel could grab onto it. So then we went in, lowered the 3-point arms so the wheel was able to grab onto the beam again, and then raise it back up, get that pin in place, and then carefully get everything set back up. So I have this set here. We can see we have it set up where the survey stake is right there. So we're putting our post right on the line. You guys do whatever you want when you're setting up your fence. This is the way that we're doing ours. We're putting it right on the line. You set your offset however you want. That's up to you. So we're going to show how to use it. This is the 6th post, so I'm probably going to screw some stuff up here because that's just the way it is. So you're going to see the touchiness of how it is to use this. So we're going to raise this up. So you can see right there, when you first hit it, it came down a little bit. So now we got that up high enough to at least get our post in place. And I machine peel these posts. We're doing the best that we can. It is cedar, so they're not absolutely perfect, but we're kind of playing we set up the machine to be perfectly level, so I'm kind of eyeballing that my post, I'm turning the crook so it's the other way. So I want, when I look down the fence line, at least me personally, I'm not a professional, we're just some homesteaders, that I want the wire itself looking pretty good. So I'm kind of putting the hook of the post the other way so the wire looks good. So to me that looks pretty well. I got my level behind me, but that's kind of not the whole point of the video. We're gonna show this thing working. So well, I'm gonna let it rip and see how this goes. The other thing that I should point out, I'm really getting my hand too close in here, that there's pinch points in here with your hand, so be careful. I need to be a little more diligent of keeping my hand here and not in here. When this thing comes down, if that pulls that over, you're gonna get your finger smashed in here. So really be mindful on where you're putting your hand. So you guys can see how little you really have to move that, because if I bring that back down too much, it's not letting that weight free fall. So it really takes a little bit of getting used to. Like I said, we haven't pounded that many posts, but you can see after a little bit of practice, I mean, this ground is pretty soft too, so it's almost cheating. But like I said, this is why we got this for the softer ground that we're in. But you can see we're looking pretty good here. We only got 4 or 5 more inches to go. Right, just like that, there's our mark that we had. So I'm pretty happy with that. We're just above, so I'm going to try to get this raised up. So what we want to do, now that we're happy with where we're at as far as the post being in the ground, we're going to want to raise this up, because as we position to the next post, I want to make sure that I have this pin back in place. So while I have the post here to catch it in case I don't want to pull forward to raise it up and end up shitting the bed with this thing. I want to make sure I get it up high enough. So now we got it up high enough. So now I can pull forward, yeah, because the post is going to be in the way, obviously. I can kill the PTO, pull forward, and put that pin in place. So that's all that is to it. It does take a little bit of getting used to. You can still see, sometimes I wasn't raising it up as high as I could and kind of not getting it perfect as far as letting it drop slow because it was catching a little bit. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, to let it basically get in the motion down to knock it in. But there you have it. You can see how that works. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'm not an expert, obviously. I said I just got this thing. But based on what I've seen for other YouTube videos, the demonstration has been pretty lacking on using these. And from what I could tell, from what I read, they were made from 1951 to 2004. So I'm assuming that there's quite a few of them out there. So a lot of guys, maybe they got them stuffed in their barns, and maybe the grandkids or somebody buys them at an auction. This I bought from a farmer locally, driven some posts and just didn't need it anymore. So I picked it up on Facebook Marketplace. So if you guys find one, it's worth giving a shot. Maybe it'd be nicer. I didn't see this one operate. I bought it without knowing if it worked, so thankfully it did work. I would check. We greased everything before we used it. We did have to put a little bit of gear oil in the gearbox, so check over those basic things like you would anything else that's mechanical. And other than that, if you guys like the video, hit the subscribe button, share it. Keep an eye out for more videos coming out. We'll see you guys in the next one.